Hey everyone, it is Kai, and we're going to talk about the results from the Chiho Cup in Niigata. Gonna go through this a bit quickly because I'm still on the road. Got a plane to catch and things like that, so just kind of crank this one out. There are some just results that I do want to talk about because, you know, some of the decks are still interesting. It's still the new set, so let's kind of just jump into it, right? So first off, let's kind of look at what went through in Swiss. There is a lot of third decks in this format right now because remember, Japan is still operating on the diversity cut. So teams will be inclined to run a third deck that is not insanely meta, right? Unless you are the third place team here who was able to go through Swiss with a Gandiva, Willista, and a Token Rambu deck. This is the Mikazuki deck. Pretty much the best decks in format. You could argue that Bastion Accord is somewhere there, but I would definitely be taking a Token Rambu, the Mikazuki build, just because it is good. It is like insanely good. Right, but in the Chiho Cup in Niigata as well, another thing to make sure is that I think the diversity cut started at 5th place and onwards. So if you look at here, these are like meta, right? You know, basically every team is running a Gandiva, and you know, this current jet is kind of weird. A lot of decks running Willista, Minerva, you know, a large variety, right? But then after the 4th place, you go bam, what is this, Mushi King? And then you got the Orphist and the Omina Gruzio, right? Kashi Kyomitsu here as well. Still a lot of decks will just kind of opt to include the Gandiva just because Gandiva is really good. Especially with the new support. It got a random Bavsagra as well. So yeah, you can kind of tell which decks are like the third decks, right? Seraph, kind of cool deck. Got some new support, but you know, Bastion, I think a lot of people will bring. So if you bring Bastion, you're kind of expecting, you know, that's kind of going to be taken by a top slot, but then also taking a Token Rambu, but instead running training tools. So that's another good flex slot, another way to dodge that diversity. Greedon, Red Zorga. There was actually quite a few Zorgas at this event, which is quite surprising. And then, you know, to round out the top 16, all right, we're starting to see like even like powerful, like the new set hasn't come out yet. What's the point in running it, right? And then yeah, just more Gandivas, training tools, everyone trying to sneak in with that diversity tech, right? Let's kind of look at the real breakdown from Fuzzy. All right, makes a nice charts, a nice pie. So we can see that 10 out of the 16 teams brought Gandiva. Then a lot of them brought Willista as well, which is actually quite surprising because it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of gonna be going up and down. People saying it's really good, then it's not. You know, I want to dodge diversity cuts, I don't want to bring it, but then I do want to bring it. I used to be a Willista babe, now I'm a Gandiva player kind of thing, right? And then we also have like 4 Bastions, so this feels like quite a bit of a drop as well. Bastion just felt like a really strong pick going into last week, but now everyone's kind of realized, you know, it's not like it's okay, it's a good deck, but it's not like the best deck ever, or they're trying to sneak that diversity in. Also 4 Zorgas, so you know, this is slightly surprising for me. I feel like Zorga kind of fell off a bit, but you know, they got the new Misty Arc Habitat order, but then you know, people are like, yeah, let's play other stuff. But you know, now that the format is a bit more settled, they're bringing that Zorga back. 3 Minervas, 3 Orphist, training tools, and this is basically where the diversity kind of begins, right? Just one of everything. Yeah. And the top 4, the winners, right? We do have the training tool deck with the Willista and Gandiva, right? And then Gandiva, Bastion, and Minerva, right? So all very strong teams. They're running very strong decks. Then we're starting to see something weird, right? We got the Youthbergs, we got the Zorgas, we got the Bastion Accords, right? So this definitely snuck in very nicely. And then in the 4th place, we got the Gandiva, Omida Gruzio, and then the Mushi King, right? So all there. Again, I'm going to just go through a few of these decks. If you want to see the real decks, all the deck codes are here, even in the top 16. So if you see something you really want to see, just pause the video, go rewind, pause the video, put in the deck codes in JP deck code, deck log, and you'll see the deck, right? So let's kind of go through some of the interesting stuff. So first, I'm still going through the Gandiva because I feel like Gandiva, you know, is like the best deck in the format with new support. And let's see what the techs have been to change it up. So something interesting that I think Chris has mentioned before is that some players are running the 4 Biddle deck just because you have 2 good grade 3s that are they're good, right? So you have the old Sturgener, and then you have the new grade 3 dude that counts everything. But it's a good grade 3. It gets like, you know, power, right? So overall, just very cool, right? It's a good card. It's a good card. You have 2 targets. Basically, the bosuns are still being cut, right? Still at 1, and then the rest is just like the good stuff. This person actually running Cyclers able to fit it in because they're not running the Brachioforce. I feel like Brachioforce is kind of important, but you know, this guy went not important. I just want to run some Cyclers and draw more cards. This one doesn't really have the Cyclers. It has the Brachioforce, and that's where it all went. I had to cut down one of the grade 2s. But, you know, the main thing is also just still 3 best harvests. I know in the West, we see a lot of 4 best harvest builds, but I think 3 is going to be where it settles, just because you don't have slots in the deck. And then the other one in the top 4 here is just actually running the Bav Saga ride line, which is kind of falling out of favor, just because it's better. I think it's just less slots needed for like the OG ride line. Still nets you okay amount. Of course, this thins your deck by 1, but slots are pretty important. Max out on grade 3s, no Form at all, so okay. And then, you know, Brachio Force, and actually just 0 Bosun at all. So, you know, don't need that counter charge. And it's really up to you, right? I think a lot of players can play with like literally 0 counter charge. Some players opt for 1. It doesn't really give you an advantage. It gives you bind. It does help you hit those like bind numbers a bit better, but you have just like better things now. It'll help you hit that. So pretty easy cut there. All right. And then moving on, I think, well, no, this is just another Gandiva. Never mind that. We have a Bastion Accord list here. Actually, that should be a Bastion Accord list, I think, right? So yeah, here it is. So Bastion Accord hasn't, I guess it hasn't really changed much. We can see a cut in the Bastion Prime counts, which I think is correct. Adding some of the old Bastion in just so you have more Bastioning to Bastion with. And then the boost, this is just, I think I put in Darkstrain. They ran the grade 3 boost, the other one, the newer one. And the rest of the deck pretty straightforward. And the other Bastion list here as well, able to sneak in a returner, a ride line returner, just for the extra defensive buff. Only 3 Bastion Primes. I was able to sneak in Sages, so a lot of people have been wondering where did the Sages go. This person ran 3 Sages, so, you know, helping out the community, letting them know Sages is back, right? I think that's what surprised a lot of people last week, is like they went, where are the Sages? Where are the Sages? Where are the Sages? Because everyone in their builds put in the Sages, and they're like, just so how come none of the meta decks are running the Sages, right? So here it is. It looks like at least it's back in this deck. And then here are some of the Amina Gruzio lists, because I don't know, I'm just interested to see how it survives in this Gandiva format. And this one is not running the Cyclers. Last week, I think we saw some of them run the Cyclers. This one is not. It's just running some of the Dragon Tree Wretch here as well. So I think this is fine. This helps you call out more stuff. It can help you call out a Bosun using the soul that you generally get a decent amount of. So in a way, pluses like that, it'll get you this guy that counts as double, so Ruin Collector, right? So kill out the Collector. That's how you like pseudo plus, right? Pseudo plus, and then just maxing out all the Amina Gruzios, the Mask Searchers and things like that. So yeah, that's just how it is. And the other one that made it as well, that one ran the Cyclers and also some clean sweeps, right? 3 clean sweeps, 3 clean sweeps, 3 Cyclers, cutting down one of the masks, which I think is okay. But it doesn't have any Mask Searchers, so it might have some issues like consistently in the mask. But you do have a top 5 check, so I think like in a hard mull and then try and get a top 5 check, and still running one of the grade 1s there as well. So I think it's fine. And then lastly, we saw that Bav Saga list that kind of topped. Let's kind of just take a quick look at it. What were the changes? Yeah, you know, Trick Moon, 3 Vilord. I think that's correct. Running spears, shields, and I think it's the polearm, right? The polearm. So that seems pretty good. The extra garter stick, and running 2 of them as well. So interesting arms choice. And then the last list we're going to take a look at is just the Magnolia list. So Magnolia masks, running 4 of the masks and the Forced Grow, and then Dragon Tree Wretches, basically maxed out with a bunch of masks too. And then Misty Arc Habitat, because it's great. But then because of the grade 1, you can kind of salvage your habitat, so it doesn't really matter. But just basically try and create those Dragon Tree markers as quickly as possible. So overall, pretty cool. Some of the interesting lists. Looks like the format is still evolving, right? Especially in Japan. Of course, they do have the diversity cut, so there's a bunch more decks that people are willing to run. But just good to see. Just good to see more decks being available, right, in standard. So that's it for me. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. All right, hopefully back home. Bye.